We have our Praggnanandhaa at the XTX London Chess Classic 2025. This is round number 3. Pragg decided to play this tournament because he needed the FIDE circuit points of an open tournament. So clearly he's the top seed here. The next seed is rated more than 100 points below him. This is round number 3 against Nico Chasin. The video is a bit patchy, so we're going to actually look at the first 21 moves on a normal board, and then we are going to come back from move number 21 where we can actually see the game with the players as well. So Pragg here is playing with the black pieces. His opponent Nico opens the game with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight to c3. We have the Nimzo Indian, queen c2, and Pragg goes for this fighting line where there is a very quick imbalance that is created with white having the bishop pair and black having a very smooth development and quick development with e5 opening up his bishop. So take, bishop d3, and now this move rook to e8. It must be noted that e4 does not win a piece here because of bishop takes f6, ed3, bishop e7, dc2, and bishop takes f8, and it's actually white who's winning. So that's the reason why rook e8 played. Now e4 is a threat, so knight d2, e4 anyway, bishop e2, bishop comes to f5, and now Nico gets a bit ambitious and goes for the move g4. Maybe not the best move. He could have played maybe simple castles or rook d1, but he wanted something more. He went g4. He saw the bishop lined up here, and so Pragg took, and now Nico played rook to g1, eyeing here on g7. But Pragg was very quick to find the refutation. He went queen h4, long castles, and now knight ge5, blocking this diagonal. Also the bishop drops back, and it's just an extra pawn. So rook g3, bishop g6, rook g1, rook a d8, queen came to b3. He's attacking the pawn here. Pragg can protect it with b6, but he decided to be more active. Takes, and queen b7. And at this moment, let's rejoin the game and see what Pragg did, which was absolutely beautiful. We can see that Praggnanandhaa is absolutely zoned in here. He's ready for his move. He's getting excited, and boom, chops off the knight on d2. What a move there by Pragg. He takes the knight on d2, adjusts himself in the chair. Now Nico is thinking about it. If he takes bishop takes d2, there's queen takes c4, and it's game over. So he can take with the king, but then once again queen c4 is dangerous. So he takes on c6 with the queen. Pragg thinks for a bit and plays rook c2 check. Very interesting move. If the king goes to b1, I have maybe rook takes c3. But if king d1, then there is rook d8 check. So he does play king b1. And now the thing is, if you play rook takes c3, I have rook takes g6, which is winning for white. So that's the reason why Pragg goes rook to b8, threatening rook takes b2. King goes to a1. And Pragg now chops off the bishop. Pawn takes. And what an exchange sacrifice. Is there some queen e4 stuff here? No, he goes queen to e7, attacking a3, and very quickly king a2 played by Nico. Rook to d8. You can see Pragg is down to 8 minutes. That's why he's playing quickly. King comes up to b3. This bishop is an absolute monster here. King back to a2. And now queen d8, threatening to enter here. Queen d2, queen d5 played a good move by Nico. And Pragg should avoid the queen trade. He goes queen e8. Another idea is to come now with queen f4 to queen b3. Rook d1 would be very, very cool. So if the queen moves, you can enter in with the queen to check. But Nico decides here that something drastic has to be done. He takes on g6, rook takes g6 taken, And Pragg now takes back h takes g6. And he plays rook b1, the best move. And he's ready to go into a queen endgame. But Pragg does not want to. He goes rook to d8. He gets his rook activated. The rook can enter in on the d2 square. Queen takes f3 taken. And Nico has 11 minutes. Pragg has 7 minutes. If you look at the number of pawns, white is a pawn up right now. It's about king safety though. Queen e5 played, attacking the pawn on c3. And it's full credit to Nico Chasin, who's actually managed to get Pragg into a situation where it's around equal. From a completely better position, rook b8. And can he repeat with rook b1? And look at the pressure on Nico's face. He goes rook b1. And maybe Pragg is ready to go into this endgame with rook takes b1, king takes b1, and queen to c3. He takes it. And the queen endgame is going to be super, super difficult now to win. Because, yes, black is having slightly more active queen, but it's equal pawns, king h7. And you can take the a7 pawn, which means that now you have a passer on the a file. This is a passed pawn. You can give a check and win the f2 pawn, but Pragg decides to take the c pawn. He now has a c passer as well. But I think the safest thing to do here is to start pushing your a pawn down the board. You cannot be worse there. Okay, you might lose few pawns here, but then the more further down you get your pawn, the easier it is. And he touches the queen, plays queen d4. And I think he will lose a pawn here. Queen check, king b2, queen takes f2 check. But white has enough in the position to be able to hold this. King b3. And is Pragg going to go after another pawn? Queen h2 maybe. And that's the reason why I mentioned that he should start pushing his pawns immediately. Because in this battle, every tempo is important. Queen takes h2 taken here by Pragg. And now a4 is possible. But the best move is queen f4, believe it or not. Super tough. He plays a4, presses the clock, but now it's actually Pragg's pawn that's faster. g5 is a very, very strong move. g5, but he plays queen h1. He misses it. And now Pragg definitely, he got 30 extra minutes, but he used most like 13 to 14 minutes for this one. Queen h1, you want to go behind the king for a check. You also want to start pushing your g pawn down the board. It's a very complicated endgame. a5 played by Nico. Once again, g5 is the move that needs to be found by Pragg. And the main point is that if you go g5 and a6, then I have g4, basically distracting your queen. Here, g3, queen does not, you cannot queen here because my queen is looking here and g2 is coming. So yes, Pragg finds the move, g5. What a great move. And now this queen combined with this g pawn is enough for black to pose huge problems. Such a amazing line. Like, for example, right now, let's say he plays a5, a6. I cannot go here, give a check and so on because the queen controls the square. But imagine when I go g4 and you take the pawn, then I go queen b1 check, king c4 and queen f1 check and I win this pawn. If you go to the a file, for example, king a4, I have queen a2 check, king b5, queen d5 check. This is all very important calculation. King a4 and now queen c6 check, and eventually I'll win the pawn. So with all of this, see, incredible calculation by Pragg. g4, Nico pushes his pawn to a7, and this is why Pragg is a super GM. He's calculating like insanely well. g3, I think one of the most instructive queen endgames that we are witnessing here. And now black, I mean, you have to worry, yeah, as white, whether g2, and your pawn, quite a few pawn downs, pawns down, sorry. Queen d3 check. Of course, g6 now. Very important move. He does play it. And now, think about it. You can't queen. I mean, he's going g2. So, for example, now Nico plays the move queen d4, a very nice move, because his point is if g2, I'll make a queen, and if you make a queen, then I have a checkmate here. So that's the reason why Pragg first goes back with a check. King has to move away, king c2, and now, well, g2 is possible here to push, but maybe it's not needed. Pragg goes for the move c5. Very interesting move, because if queen takes c5 in this position, I can now go g2, and there's no check here, and g1 is coming. So he gives a check, and anytime Nico takes on g3, he loses the a7 pawn, it's game over. So this entire concept with g5, g4, g3 is so brilliant. He goes queen a4, threatening to queen, and I think Pragg doesn't have to go on the defensive with queen a8. He simply goes g2. And here's the point. You make a queen, I take it, I make another queen, and I'm 2 pawns up. So queen a1 check. And now very important not to go to g8 or h8. You know, these, just push your pawn either to f6 or king h7. Does go king h7. And now Nico knows that the writing is on the wall. The game is over. He plays king d3. Pragg makes a queen. Queen takes queen, and he takes the pawn on a7. And with this, Praggnanandhaa is going to move to 3 out of 3 at the XTX London Chess Classic Open 2025. You can see here Nico resigns with a nod of the head. A great game by Pragg, I must say. And Nico played really well. He defended excellently. But Pragg's endgame skills were on point, especially this idea with g5, g4, g3. I mean, what a brilliant, brilliant concept that Pragg came up with. And, well, in this tournament, Pragg has to tread very carefully, because winning an open tournament is always super tough. You have all these strong players, 2500, 2600 rated players, who are not at all easy. But if Pragg plays up to his strength, it's pretty sure that he will win it and then get his candidate spot for 2026.